Still off. Okay, I think we're on live now. So, welcome to our first episode, or my first episode of the new year of 2024 for Clear Blue Radiance. And I am the originator of this podcast. I'm doing it here uh, on Resident Essentials YouTube channel. I have a very interesting topic I want to share with you today, and I may have shared this in other means. This is podcast number 147. So that lets you know I've been doing this for a little over 2.5 years, almost 3 years. And this has been a great opportunity to share the teachings that I would like to offer to all of you. We had a little bit of, or I should say, I had a little bit of technical difficulty getting on here, even though I was highly prepared. So, if you know anybody that wants to tune into it, just let them know. They can come in and tune in right now and get this particular teaching today. And I'm going to give it to you right now in our chat. So when you do come in, it's called How to Operate in the Spirit of Grace and Become a Beacon Light. Now, that might be a bit much. And I see I have to make some corrections here because there are opportunities that are being presented to us in very subtle ways. And we want to be aware that those subtle ways are actually subtle opportunities. And if you are a person who enjoys meditation, you will be able to easily implement those subtle, you'll be able to actually hear them, see them, and then bring them to the forefront. And when you are finding yourself doing such, you will notice that certain changes start to occur in your own life. And so, one of the things we want to be aware of is that you have to remain consistent with ideas, consistent for yourself. And in doing so, you are allowing yourself an opportunity to experience changes and shifts in your life without feeling as though you're out of the picture, you're out of the running, you're falling behind time. Well, man made time is shifting all the time, right? It's constantly going through some changes, and we're constantly realizing, excuse me, that change is going to happen. Excuse me. We know that change is going to happen because change is a part of growth. And if we realize that change is a part of growth, then we're constantly in motion on some level. Maybe I have mentioned before in my other 146 podcasts that sometimes we are unaware, even when we are asleep, that we're constantly pulsating. The heart is pulsating, pumping blood through our system. The brain is constantly, even on lower frequencies, the brain is constantly putting out energy, thought patterns, images. We're hearing a lot of, we're seeing a lot of still images and moving images because things are coming up out of the memory base, out of the subconscious. So, keeping that in mind, a lot of things are moving forward, a lot of things are changing, and we want to be aware of these changes as they occur. So, one of the things we have to do is start paying more attention to what is going on in our own life. And the more that we can pay attention to that, we will be able to do this. Hold on just a second. Let some people pop in. How can I? Okay, let's see. I want to. Hold on. I want to bring some people on who would like to get this. So I gotta show them how. Let's see. All right. For anybody who's wanting to share, sometimes we have a lot of our live videos locked in. And sometimes we do that because often there's a lot of other individuals who are who are just lifting things. So there are so many different things that can be accomplished at times. Hey, Ademat, I gotta learn how to pronounce that. You have to give it to me phonetically. There are so many things that are occurring at any given point. You know, years ago, uh, metaphysical people, spiritualists, occultists, and even the common scientists were all talking about quantum theory. And now, the more minds that have delved into that, it is now in the mainstream and it is now a reality in our own consciousness because there's so much information out there that we've been able to see this come into reality. The interesting factor is, and I don't want to mention too deep on the other side, there are certain people in control of things that have been exploring this since the 1800s. And they know how it's done. They know how to do it, but they don't want to let the mainstream, the public, do it. Now, it might be one thing that someone could misuse it. That's also possible. But others in certain positions who already know these things have misused it for eons to spy on other countries, personalities, people, you name it. So, but we don't have to fall off into the lake, into the bigger body of ocean of water of confusion. We just have to take the time to shift ourselves. So when we take the time to shift our own mind around, make some changes, or like Dr. Joe Dispenza says, every time you're meditating, you are giving birth to new brain neurons so that the brain folds can open up so that you can take in more information. So, keeping that in mind, we are always taking on creating more, bringing more things to the surface, putting things into motion, experimenting. where it's no longer a theory, but it becomes a theorem. That's a term in math, in mathematics, right? We have theories and then you have theorems. Theorems are things that you can prove. Isn't you can take the theory and prove them. I always say it that way: theorem, prove them. So you know that these things do exist. So today's topic was a way in which I took the word grace, GRACE, and gave a meaning to each one of the letters. That way, it kind of keeps me on point. So, if we say that this today's topic is how to operate or how to move in the spirit of grace and become a beacon light. Grace is a spirit within yourself, a tool, a mechanism that allows you to overcome difficulties, to have breakthroughs, where some point you might think, oh, everything around me is not moving in accordance with me. Everything that I say or speak is not on point or doesn't seem to bear fruit. But what we have to do is we have to continue to work on ourselves. And by doing so, we are allowing ourselves to move forward. Working on yourself means changing your attitude, changing your outlook about life, about how you think your life is supposed to be. Sometimes it's just consciously out there doing things so much that eventually you arrive without even knowing that you have arrived. Okay, here I am as a originator of this podcast, a person who is fallen into writing, becoming a book author. Already have 6 books out, working on book number 7, and now I got to get it done, putting the pressure on myself. But I've been a spiritual counselor for 40 plus years. During those 40 plus years, I have learned how to acclimate my mind to what I'm doing, acclimate my life to what I'm doing. I've learned that I had to shift my awareness about things. I had to go into my memory bank and I had to look myself in the mirror and tell myself, hey, you've been in this jam before. Hey, you've done this before. You know how to come out and to come out on top for yourself. So I had to give myself a pep talk. Now, what do? I look in the mirror and I see myself as the reflection of my higher self speaking unto me. So there are ways and means in which we can create these new realities for ourselves. My whole my whole objective when I'm teaching here is to help you gain greater clarity and find your purpose. And we know our purpose changes as we elevate, as the mind changes, as the heart changes, because they're both pumping out these frequencies all the time, that eventually you come to the crest, you come to the peak, and you can see everything around you. You can dream it, and then you can fulfill the dream. You could make it a material thing and a material event. So, how to operate with the spirit of grace and become a beacon light. In other words, to shine your light forward. That's something you can't stop doing, because if you stop shining your light, stop sharing your truth, stop becoming a truth, an infinite truth, then you fall into the ditch of stagnation and immobilization and confusion and feeling burnt out. And who hasn't felt burnt out? Everybody is burnt out, whether you're working for somebody or trying to work for yourself. You come to those moments where there's a brick wall. Well, the letter G in grace, I want you to see it as a word that represents the principle, the virtue, and the action of generosity. While you're working on clearing and improving your wellness on all levels in your life, be it financial, physical, health wise, materially, where you live, and all of that. What you have in your possession that allows you to get around, however you need to do that. The other things that are attached to your emotions and your psychic nature and your astral body and then etheric body. We got all these bodies, right? And so we are always allowing ourselves to awaken in those different zones so we can see where the heck we're going. All right. And so, are you the type of person who is comfortable? Now, this is with your generosity. Are you the type of person who is comfortable with giving your time to help others? When people talk about, I'm going to be a transformational life coach, I'm going to be a life coach, I'm going to coach somebody. Well, there are a lot of people who are coaches legitimately out there. There are some people who just wear the name as a title and haven't done any coaching, or they haven't let someone coach them on some level. Okay. Now, the thing is that coach, when a person says, I'm a life coach for people, actually, you're saying the old fashioned word, I'm a mentor for people. So when you see yourself as this mentor, you're helping other people establish something new within inside themselves that they didn't realize that they already have inside of themselves. So it's not so much that you're bringing something brand new to a person, your client, your student. You're just actually confirming something that they are already on the edge of doing, and you're there to be their cheerleader. Some people need a lot of help, a lot of coaching. Some people need very little. Some people just need just a little tiny key, a little tiny flame, just to see where the heck they're going and need encouragement. Now, some of you are built to go beyond the norm, to give your wisdom and have the capacity to be either a giver or a taker. Now we have experienced many takers. Hey Jackie, how you doing? Uh, we have experienced many takers. Sometimes in your journey of being the person who's generous, there are people who love to hang on, who give nothing back, and when they do, they give these little trinkets, these little carrots that are designed to get your attention off of what they haven't done for you. I remember when I was living in New Jersey before I came here, I was asking a lot of guys that I knew who were very good with computers. I mean, definitely good with computers. But I didn't allow myself to see the downside of that friendship or association with those people. But I noticed certain things about them. They gave less than I gave. When I would teach them a class, I put it all out there. I guess if I could have been a professional athlete, I could be in the Hall of Fame by now because I was the person that I gave more than I actually had to give. But I found ways to be generous and give what I knew that would help them. They, on the other hand, were the takers. They just kept taking. And when it was time for them to give me something, they either ghosted me or they gave me something that had no value or they gave me something that was used up and said, oh, that's all I can do right now. I said, well, could you drop some cash to assist in this work that I'm doing? Oh, I don't have the money. Or if they wrote me a check, I said, go get it certified because then we know the money's there. But then what usually happens is once they got to go back and get it certified, they didn't come back. So I had to learn that my setbacks became a set up. So they thought they were setting me up to fail. In reality, they were strengthening my inner spirit. They were strengthening my natural drive. They were strengthening my generosity. They were strengthening my sincerity and my capacity and my compassion. And then once I put it together, hey, I need to value me. I need to love me more. So then I started disconnecting from these people. And I'm talking about going into somebody's religious establishment place and teaching like they asked me to do. But I noticed they were in competition with me. One time, a group of people wanted me to teach Tai Chi. I said, I'm going to teach the Tai Chi. What happened? They took that from me. They went ahead and exercised those people so much that nobody showed up for Tai Chi. Person knew what they were doing. Had me come in on a Wednesday. They did their service Wednesday morning. They weren't, and Wednesday noontime to 2, they weren't doing anything after 6 o'clock. Had me come there, waste my time, nobody show up. Then the person would say, well, maybe you didn't advertise. I said, I sent emails out 4 and 5 times to your congregation. I've done this, I've done this, I've left flyers around. I was too generous. So I had to learn to rein that energy back in, be a little bit more selective. So I went back to teaching third Saturdays. But what happened? One of those people in the congregation started getting together with me because I lived in Newark's Ironbound. That's where it's like the UN down there. Every nation, country is represented in there. Whether you're living in from United States, Canada, Africa, South Africa, Brazil, Peru, they were all there. And this one person, this Asiatic person like myself, met me on Saturdays. On the certain Saturdays when I wasn't teaching anymore at certain locations, or meet me on a Sunday afternoon. And guess what? That person treasured what I was doing. That person was releasing things to me that I didn't even ask about. I don't believe that person's on the planet anymore. But that person used to tell me how this person that is known as Archbishop Master Prophet Ibn Arjo, this person was a part of that person's congregation as well, and would tell me how they would operate. Would reveal to me, which I already knew on some level, but it was confirmed. Like, how's that person know that much astrology? They studied it. How's that person know that much about meditation? They study it. How's that person know how numerology works? They study it. They send their whole ministry down to certain parts of the United States to learn things. It's okay. I'm just one person, but the drive is present. So here's the next letter, R. While showing your generosity, you are also doing what? Restoring your life, bringing restoration into your life and into those you can impact, you can influence, you can assist. You are showing how resilient you are as you allow nothing to keep you from rising and achieving, even when your life has been difficult. So many of us here, if you put it in the chat room, I know that you've assisted and brought restoration into the lives of other people. But those people were the takers. They didn't appreciate that what you were generously giving to them to assist them through the divine presence of unconditional love and compassion and understanding. They just continue to take. But you were built to do this. You were born with these things intact. You were born to be a person who can restore the life of another person. Help them restore the way that they need to think. And your resilience. Your resilience means you don't give up. Your resilience means even you're home asleep, you're recharging for the next moment, for the next day. So you find yourself capable and being this natural giver, even no matter how difficult your life is. But what happens along the way is this: you start speaking into the ethers, you start realizing that your words that you speak are potent and powerful. They are like lasers, and that they can affect various situations in your surroundings. And if you do it enough, you set up a vibration where you are self protected. And not only self protected, but you can leap. You can have that leap of faith and don't worry about the net. Why? Because grace is the net. The spirit of grace that's in you, that's embedded in your soul at your deepest level, is your net. You become like that guy in the movie, the original movie X-Men, right? Magneto. Huh? He had to walk over this great expanse, 10 thousands of feet down in a cave, or 25 or 5,000 feet. But he got from one tunnel to the next. Why? Because he willed his steps. He willed magnetic steps into place, and he just casually walked to the other side. You do the same through generosity and showing restoration abilities and showing your resilience. That's what you're doing. So, guess what? The tears that you have had over the years actually strengthen you. The tears that you have, the hurt, the pain that you have attracted into your life and sometimes didn't realize it, you were being this generous giver and someone else was being a generous taker. But guess what? You're still here. That's why I like watching, the college football north of me in Colorado, in Boulder, Colorado. When prime time, Deion Fortune steps in there. He tells the team, "Don't worry, I'm easy to find. Don't worry, I talk about no one else. Don't worry, I only talk about myself and my team and my coaches. Don't worry, we coming. We're here." So what happens is taking that energy as a person who generates love and compassion, unconditional love, using the spirit of grace within themselves, they are what? Resilient. They don't give up, they don't quit. They may take a break, but they don't quit. They don't stop until the task is done. Well, here's the letter A. You have innate abilities to assist and uplift others while overcoming negativity because you learn not to absorb it from others. That's what the letter A is about. You have innate abilities to assist and uplift others while overcoming negativity because you learn not to absorb it from others. So you are this resilient giver. You are the giver who restores things, and you do it generously. Why? Because you're giving within the nature of grace, within the spirit of grace within you. You don't run out. You might run down, you might get a little tired, but you don't run out. You don't run out of ideas. You don't run out of abilities. You don't run out of memories. You don't run out of levels of awareness. You are always capable of receiving something much higher. So here comes the letter C. The letter C says, You are consciously creating new realities for yourself. You are consciously creating new realities for yourself. And with others vibing on the same or similar frequency as yourself. So that's when people talk about let's collaborate. Be careful who you collaborate with. Are you vibing on the same frequency as a giver or a taker? Because there's a lot of people collaborating with people, and the whole time they taking and taking and taking till they drain you. Who wants to be drained? Nobody. Who wants respect? Everybody. But how many people are giving generously the respect to others who they know are deserving? This is why it is sometimes better to discover who you are. And one of the teachings I heard watching the other night on TV about someone was saying about Dolores Cannon and her QHHT, her quantum healing technique that she developed. She was one of the first people using hypnotherapy and getting deeply into the deepest part of the person's mind to find out who they are. And people were saying, well, I'm from Pleiades. And someone said, well, I'm from Sirius. And someone else said, well, I'm from here, here, here. I'm an Arcturian. And what she reminded everybody from her learning of her teachings, her daughter teaches now, but she's no longer around. You're all of that and more, which makes sense. That's why you have a distinctive memory about it. I remember over 40 years of getting into this field, I had a connection to Palladian stuff. But I also realized too, so did everyone else. And because 40 years ago, not too many people were talking about Palladian, only a few people. So when people would meet me, oh, you're from Pallades. Oh, well, that's all they knew how to say. They didn't know anything about Arcturian people, beings. They didn't know anything about Syrian people. But what she was also saying is what I can concur on my own as well. We have had life in all of these places. And we continue to live in all of these regions, all of these galaxies, constellations, you name it. I've come to the understanding that that the toroidal field that's pouring through our spine in all these directions, in between any two lines of energy, there's life happening. Or each band that's coming through is life. We're in there, we're experiencing. So, yeah, it's easy to just be in the present moment and feel everything pass or bleed into your space, bleed into your consciousness, because you do have you do remember living in this realm, in that ether. But one thing you know for sure, this one called Earth, ugh, it's a real trial and error location. It's a place where you operate in free will, do whatever you daggone please, but you pay a price nonetheless. Because you have to give up everything. If you decide to come here to experience what's here, you got to give up all your abilities, all your skills, all your talents, all your remembrances about who you are or were or have been. So you're operating with blinders here. But it's designed to bring out the best and then better than the best in you. Then you learn, okay, well, how did I do it before? You hop in and out of one realm, one dimension. Hop in and out of all of them. Find yourselves in all of them. Military governments train intelligence officers to have those experiences, to go back into their past, go back into their future. Dolores Cannon was saying it. All these beings coming, right, are different parts of you coming to see you. Isn't that something? All the beings that you looking at in the sky are you check in on you. When you realize all these things are you, then that's who you need to collaborate with, because you will have a better understanding and you will know when to skip a step, skip a life's experience, so you don't waste no time and energy going over the same stuff, repeating it. Dr. Joseph Dispenza was saying the same thing in what I was watching him talk about last night. He said, anytime you keep talking about something that happened to you lock that thing into place. And then you slow down your vibration and you can't move forward or upward because you have anchored yourself in a past situation. And to you, then that past situation becomes real. But what you don't understand is if you can pull your emotions, all of your emotions out of that past experiences, then that past no longer gains weight. It no longer has a clutch or claw on you or hook on you. You are free. People say, well, I want to be a sovereign. I want to live unto myself and be sovereign. You can, but according to whose stuff? Because there's so much other stuff that can block you from being sovereign on this earthly plane. I was also had watched prior to that a particular comedian. I don't want to say the person's name, talking to a particular retired professional football player that has his own, social program. And this comedian was complaining. They kept saying they weren't really jealous, but they were complaining nonetheless. And I could see that comedian's light that I've never seen before. They do have a very bright light, but guess what? They're still caught up in ratchetness. That if this person don't respect them, they're going to do this to that person. They're going to show up and be a lot bigger. Why? Why get into that kind of conversation? That's why that person can't progress. Don't find them themselves, but they're okay. They're still okay. They just haven't gotten out of the bear traps and learn not to step on the mines to blow themselves away or blow themselves backward. So C means you are consciously creating new realities for yourself and with others, vibing on the same or similar frequency as yourself. So whoever we are, we're what radiating. We're putting energy out, and the radiation, the frequent vibes that we're putting out in all six, seven, eight, nine directions, or even more, is attracting different personalities, different vibrations, different principles, different virtues, different opportunities into our fruit basket of things. The last letter in the word grace is the letter E. E means as you elevate your self esteem, as you elevate yourself, what is self esteem? How worthy are you? What value do you place on yourself? So as you elevate your self-esteem, your value you have about yourself, you develop self-empowerment, self-improvement. And I'm going to say self-sovereignty. Why? Because you're not depending on others to make you happy. You're bringing the happiness to yourself and for yourself first. You have to be resilient enough. You have to survive enough things that you can restore yourself. You become that saving power called grace. They say grace is unmerited, unwarranted, right? It can be on anybody. Why? Because it's that person. That person is the grace within themselves that's bringing it to the table. We become all these things that we're talking about, all these things that we're experiencing. So, yeah, you want to make sure you are the giver and not the taker. But you don't have to take anything from anybody. You just have to be yourself. Being yourself means living in the present moment If you stay in the present moment and get really centered in the present moment, you will see all the other realms and dimensions that you are in at the same time. And you will be able to contact and connect with your higher self, not only in this one, but in all the other ones. And you will be able to work collectively and collaborate as one. So therefore, people say, well, when am I going to get my piece of the pie? When am I going to step into a new reality? You're in control. You got the key. You are the key. You are vibrating a certain set of numbers consistently, patterns of numbers that are drawing certain formulas and recipes and things to yourself that you can utilize or not utilize. Remember, you are truly a giver and not a taker. You are a person that gives a generous part of yourself to see a better world. You are capable of being very restorative, have that power. You can regenerate, you can rebirth yourself, and you are resilient enough. This means you have survived enough nonsense, your own and others, and people that you don't even know, and things you can't even see because they're hidden from you, to become the giver and not the taker consistently. And while done all that and uplifted other people, you've realized you have the ability to assist and uplift others while not being affected by negativity. Then you're consciously creating the reality for yourself, because through your conscious creating of reality for yourself, you will see some things being drawn into your vicinity, into your consciousness. And as you elevate yourself, your self esteem, you develop self empowerment for you. Your behavior changes. You'll say to yourself, nah, I'm just going to stay home tonight. I'm not going out. Your friends call you. They're right around the corner. Hey, come on and hang out at the sports bar. Hey, come on, hang out at the cafe and have some tea or coffee and some scones. Even if you do go, the energy is setting itself up for you to realize you're not going to be there long anyway. And if you're, as my friend Michelle says, if your spiritual team don't want you to show up, it'll make it so that you don't show up. Misplace your wallet, which is your ID in there. Misplace your keys, or maybe you don't drive, but hey, misplace your subway card, or something is just holding you back. You can feel it. A web of energy is holding you back, but you go anyway. And you have to avoid all the negativity you see in the street. You got to realize eyes are upon you because you've raised your frequency. And maybe you have raised your frequency to the height where others cannot recognize it nor you. In other words, you become invisible to them. So at some point, to sum this all up, at some point, you have to realize that you do know how to operate with the spirit of grace to become a beacon light, because you are the spirit of grace and you are the beacon light. And you've been doing it your entire life. You realize that you are the spirit of grace that is a beacon of light in the world, and you are creating it right now. So once you realize that we all have this natural ability to consciously create change in our lives, then we see, which is to understand the infinite possibilities that exist within ourselves to help others. Remember that it is more important to be what? Present, present, and not strive to become perfect. Hey, To be present, when you see the word present, you are preset, preordained to do what you're doing right now. You just had to uncover all this stuff. Thanks for watching my podcast. If you have any questions about today's podcast, simply email me at iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. To discover what Resonant Essentials, RESONANT Essentials, ESSENTIALS is all about, it is now called Resonant Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics, founded by Michelle Vidal. Go to her link now at www.resonantessentials.com and take a look at our current practitioners and calendar of events. Join her Facebook page, Resonant Essentials The Group. That's Resonant Essentials The Group, which is her Facebook page. You can join there and keep up with all the things that are going on that all of us practitioners are doing. Uh, Stay in touch to know those new events and opportunities. For more information, call her mobile number. Call her mobile number Mondays through Fridays between 9 a.m. and I think 5 p.m. Call this number 505-453-7646. Her mobile number, Michelle Vidal's mobile number, is 505-453-7646. Or simply email her at michelle@resonantessentials.com. When you go to the website, you can see the calendar events. You can click on practitioners and see the current practitioners. Today is Thursday. Right now, Liliana Rondon is in there. And Liliana Rondon is the owner of Jaguarina Apothecary. She's got a lot of stuff. She's an art therapist. She's done that line of work. She makes her own ointments and things, and she is very much a creative person. I took a workshop with her last year that showed me how to make my own bath salts, a big tub of it too, and also how to make a coffee, a sugar coffee scrub, as they call it. I still got it brewing in by my altar right now. These things you learn from various people associated with us. Also, usually on Fridays, we have Lauren of Lolo's Tarot at Resident Essentials. And Lauren is a psychology major at the University of New Mexico downtown. She's going to graduate on Saturday, May 11th, with a Bachelor's of Science degree in psychology. I want to put that out there. She's a sweetheart. On Saturdays at 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. for just $10, I offer my Creative Pathwork meditation class. And that's when you're here in Albuquerque. People come from different places. Sometimes I teach anywhere from 4 people up to 17, 20 people. We make room for you to teach. Um, every second Saturday, we have IONS, which is the Institute of Noetic Sciences Albuquerque group that brings in a speaker. And just for a simple donation to Resident Essentials, you can sit in there, even if you don't want to make a donation, but you can hear all these beautiful lectures. Okay. We're closed on Sundays and Mondays, but every second Sunday in each month of the month, we have our psychic and healing fair that goes from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. You can get readings at $1 a minute or just check with the various practitioners and readers that are there. I'm usually there most Sundays. Most of those Sundays. We'll be there on January the 14th 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's the time that we are there. And there's usually a lot of us are in there. Liliana will be there. Lauren of Lolo's Tarot will be there. Michelle will be there. I will be there. We have Stephanie Pereira of Owl Knowing. She has a lot of candles, magical candle essences. She'll be there. Um, Ida, a woman by the name of Ida. Ida's got a lot of energy. Ida can read people as well. We have a lot of people that are associated with us, sometimes guest readers and practitioners or healers are vetted and then are able to be there. Resident Essentials is usually open Tuesdays through Saturdays. Okay, Tuesdays through Saturdays. So Tuesdays through Fridays, a lot of the other people are there. We have Nicole Philip Bruton. She does readings there on Tuesdays, usually from 10 or 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. We also have Wednesdays. Michelle is there with Rosemary Navarra. Either one of them is the healer of that day, and the other one is the reader for that day. So come on down, check out the website, see who's in there, get to know the people, and if you're in town, you can come. If you need something remote, that will happen as well. All right, I'm out of here. Thank you for joining me on the first podcast of the year, but it's the 147th podcast that I've done here for Resident Essentials. I will be giving Michelle Vidal an interview on Monday, January the 15th, 2024. I believe at 10 a.m. in the morning. So I'm going to do it through my Zoom platform, but I'm going to hook it up to Facebook. So it'll go in there, Facebook Live, and you can see the both of us interact as I interview her over a 30-40 minute period. So I just want to get that out to you. Thank you for being here and being supportive in your own way. I'm teaching later on today with my first Thursday workshop for this year, and it's called The Seven Mahatmas as Seven Heavens, which are the seven chakras. All right, so take care of yourself. See you real soon. Hope to be here next week live if the creek don't rise. All right. Remember, until next time, remember that divine grace is a blessing as we're alive and well in the age of remembrance. And thank you, Arit Mott and Jackie Fillmore, for joining me today. I'll thank everybody else that sees this as a replay. Thank you so much. Have a good day now.